There are ways you can trigger and switch on the body's almost superhuman genes, which will have a direct impact on your health and performance. And the reason for why most people haven't been able to trigger them is simply because doing so goes against intuition and human nature, which tells you to look for comfort. You don't trigger superhuman switches doing regular shit, but you have to challenge yourself and put yourself in uncomfortable situations for it to be effective. And I got some expert help creating this video from Siim, who shares many of my core beliefs in mental and physical improvement and has heaps of great content on his YouTube channel, and has also written a bunch of books on how to empower yourself and basically become superhuman. And you know the books are legit when Brandon Carter thinks it's good shit. So I'll let Siim explain 3 practical ways to turn on these inner switches that will have an instant impact on your overall health and performance.
What's up everyone, my name is Siim, and I want to thank Adam for having me on his channel. I would like to definitely take advantage of this opportunity to share with you some of these tactics or these habits that you can do every day to turn on your body's inner superhuman switches. They're like these genetic triggers or pathways that are going to allow you to improve both your health, your fitness, your performance, and everything else you do as well. So, without further ado, let's start turning on those superhuman switches.
It's over 9,000!
The first thing is energy deficit and caloric restriction. You would think that giving your body more energy and using fast absorbing foods is better, but it's not. In fact, digestion and frequent eating cause mild oxidative stress to the mitochondria, which are the power plants of your cells. Mitochondria convert oxygen and calories into energy. They're the things that allow you to be alive and function physically. Building more mitochondria and making them more efficient will increase your daily energy levels, helps you to lose weight, improves your longevity, and ultimately increases your overall well-being. The key to mitochondrial density is to improve your body's ability to burn its own stored fat for fuel. This is going to make you less reliant on eating food, and it allows you to stay sharp no matter what time of the day it is or what you eat. Caloric restriction and intermittent fasting trigger mitochondrial biogenesis and increase fat oxidation. This has been shown to extend the lifespan of many species and improve their health. Carbohydrate restriction mimics the effects of fasting through maintaining nutritional ketosis. When you're in ketosis, you begin to burn fat and ketones for fuel instead of glucose. This allows the mitochondria to produce more energy even when there's no food around. There are several ways you can induce an energy deficit on your body. The idea is to force your body to start generating energy from its internal sources. That's why I highly recommend you to time restrict your feeding every day to at least some degree. The simplest and easiest way of intermittent fasting is the lean gains approach, where you fast for 16 hours and eat within 8 hours. During the fast, you can only drink water, tea, or coffee. I myself do something of a 1 meal a day warrior diet, where I'm eating most of my calories within a few hours. This keeps me in a deep fat burning state all day long. You don't have to do the ketogenic diet entirely, but you would still gain a lot of the benefits by at least limiting your carbohydrate consumption around your workouts, so your body could maintain its insulin sensitivity and use those carbs only if it needs to. By doing intermittent fasting and avoiding the foods that cause oxidative stress, you're going to improve the efficiency of your mitochondria. And that's going to improve your energy and your longevity, which is basically the fundamental to everything else you do as well. You'll get stronger, you'll get faster, you'll get smarter, you'll get happier, and you get more shit done.
I need NOS.
But let's move on with the second switch, which is heat and cold thermogenesis. Being in an energy deficit activates a fuel sensor AMPK, which ramps up your body's survival mechanisms. Besides intermittent fasting and carb restriction, exposure to cold triggers this same response. Your body tries to maintain a state of constant balance called homeostasis in everything: body temperature, metabolic rate, blood pressure, and daily rhythms. When you're exposed to either high heat or the cold, your body will try to get back to homeostasis by adapting to the changes that are happening. Cold exposure increases mitochondrial density by reducing inflammation, boosting the immune system, burning fat, and making you more resistant to the cold. Heat exposure activates these so-called heat shock proteins, which allow the cells to resist the damaging effect of heat. High temperatures can also stimulate the lymphatic system, which works like an inner pump for flushing out liquids and toxins from the body. Cold increases brown fat as well, which is considered to be much healthier than regular white fat because it contains more mitochondria. It also increases adiponectin levels, which are proteins that are associated with increased lifespan in centenarians.
Tonight's forecast, a freeze is coming.
You might have heard of Wim Hof the Iceman as well. He holds dozens of Guinness records involving superhuman feats of cold exposure. His abilities come from being able to control his autonomic nervous system with his breathing methods, and exposing himself to the cold is a way of leveraging that ability to improve his health and well-being. Training yourself to resist cold will give you more energy, makes you stronger both physically as well as mentally, and teaches you to stay calm in stressful situations. Start taking contrast showers in the morning. 30 seconds of cold followed by 10 to 15 seconds of warm. 30 seconds of cold again, repeated for a few minutes. Try to fluctuate your body's homeostasis throughout the day by going outside with fewer clothes, turning down the central heating, and at other times being warmer. Take some ice baths or polar plunges every once in a while to shock your system and really ramp up that AMPK production. Go for high temperature saunas as well to trigger heat shock proteins and sweat out some toxins. This kind of alternating between your homeostasis and imbalances, it brings more contrast into your life. Not only is it going to allow you to experience different physical stimuli, but it's also going to prepare you for the fluctuations and chaos of everyday life.
What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age!
So the third switch is neurogenesis and neuroplasticity, because, it's important to not only train your body, but to also train your mind. In fact, training your mind might be a lot more important. Neurogenesis is the process of creating new brain cells and protecting the brain against cognitive decline. Neuroplasticity is the process by which your brain restructures its neural networks and pathways. Both of them are critical for having a healthy brain, improving your cognition, and staying sharp. Neuroplasticity fundamentally starts with learning new things and gaining skills that you previously didn't have. It's also about improving and creating these new pathways into your brain.
You must unlearn what you have learned.
There are many things you can do every day to keep your brain more engaged and plastic. Practice skills that incorporate several regions of the brain, like playing a musical instrument, juggling several objects at once, or do other tasks that require complex motor skills and concentration. Doing handstands or doing difficult exercises improve your mind-body awareness and help you to facilitate neuroplasticity. Brush your teeth with your less dominant hand while balancing on one leg. Now that will definitely force you to concentrate. Learning a new language is another great way because you're forced to analytically think about your wording. Every day you should also have periods of deep work where you're doing something undisturbed for many hours. This will rewire your brain to become more focused and more productive. Meditation increases gray matter volume in the brain and stimulates neurogenesis. It's also going to improve your focus and self-control. Expose yourself to novelty by shaking up your daily routine, going to new places, meeting different people, and deliberately get lost while you're walking. Exercise releases a hormone in the brain called BDNF that stimulates neurogenesis and improves your mood. Both aerobic training and lifting weights works for improving your cognition, but fasting also releases BDNF, which is another great reason to skip a meal every once in a while.
Alright everyone, chill.
The overall message is to challenge yourself physically as well as mentally, to trigger these genetic pathways and force your body to adapt, because our environment by default is not going to force us to do it. We have to do it ourselves.
Do it.
And that's why I highly recommend you to activate these switches to some degree, at least every day. So if you want to learn more about all of these practices that I mentioned in this video, then check out my YouTube channel. It has a ton of videos about all of these practices that I mentioned here. I want to thank Adam for having me on his channel again, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you click the like, subscribe, notification bell as well. Go do some cold thermogenesis. Stay superhuman, stay empowered.